These moments define who we are. Here at BD, we innovate and engineer gear for people who live for these moments.
Barn to Feed is committed to the single, simple goal of creating the world's best wool socks by exclusively using an all-American recipe, U.S. materials, U.S. manufacturing, and U.S. workers.
When you're walking and hiking on back roads and streets, make sure the socks you're wearing are Barn to Feed.
Because the climb up is as important as the turns on the way down. Fritschi bindings combine state-of-the-art innovation with Swiss engineering to deliver the optimal ski touring binding.
The first 5 times I went skiing in Colorado, I ended up turning around all 5 times. In one case, I followed my skin track all the way back 2,000 vertical feet. There is no shame in turning around. If you see shooting cracks, if you hear collapsing, if you hear whoomphing, if you see natural avalanches, those are all kind of considered the barking junkyard dog. Like, you only get one warning and then you're going to get bitten. I want to keep my options as open as possible. I think one of the more dangerous things you can do is to set a goal a week ahead of time, because you never know what's going to happen. It could be bad conditions, and if you set that track, it's very hard to back down from it. Check the avalanche report before I go. Look for any sort of natural avalanches. I like to find areas where you can skin in, see what the snow's like, take a warm-up run, do some ski cutting, do all sorts of other little testing, slope testing, before you actually jump into a big line. A lot of times I have what I'll call creative rationalization, where I'll be going along and I'll feel a collapse. And I'll go, wow, that's not a good sign, but it's low elevation, east facing, and we're going to upper elevation, north facing, so it doesn't apply. Oh, look, there's a natural avalanche. It's on a different aspect. You really have to pay attention to all of those things, because a warning sign is a warning sign. So don't ignore some of these red flags. There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity when it comes to weather. Bad weather is just part of it, but if it's continuing to get more and more, or a real red flag is if you have over 1 inch an hour of new snow, you really need to start thinking about an exit plan. Another thing that plays into that idea of turning around is setting a good track, a good safe track on the way up. That's why I like to stick to ridge lines. If you get up there and you stomp a cornice and the whole thing avalanches on each side of you, or you have some sort of issue, you'll be able to turn around and skin back down that track. There's no shame in going back down your skin track. So group dynamics is another important concept of being able to turn around. A lot of times people are all having the same feeling, like they might have felt some collapsing snowpack, or they have the same concerns, but nobody talks up about it. So being able to speak up and have rational conversations about it is an excellent thing to do. The summit is actually only halfway. Making it to the summit and getting avalanched and dying doesn't count. That's bad form. You have to make it to the summit and back, and if you make it 99% of the way and the last 1% is really the dangerous part, you have to be willing to turn around there. That can be hard to do, because as you're hiking up, each step just gets a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, and you don't really notice it until suddenly this has become really dangerous. Another one to watch out for is the idea of being overly committed. And that really comes into play when you're going on a bigger expedition. And you can easily convince yourself, oh, I put in all this time and effort to get here. Conditions aren't quite right, but I'm going to keep pushing up and pushing up. And you really have to be able to step back and go to plan B. On a lot of my trips that I've been on, we have plan A that has gone to B, C, D, E, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So having an open mind and being willing to turn around and keeping your options open is very important. If you just set your mind on making it to one peak, you're really setting yourself up for a dangerous situation where that's all you can do, that's all there is. If you do or die, if you don't make it, it's a failure. There is no shame in turning around. You start out with a plan and adjust as needed.
When you're walking and hiking on back roads and streets, make sure the socks you're wearing